Are Shadow Warriors any good in patch 6.1.3? I want to take a fair look because this is the Without Alith Anar video, and that's a big deal. If the end result is that they're not worth recruiting without him, so be it, but they're accessible by other factions among High Elves, so we should at least understand them better. Let us pierce the shadows with the light of hope. Recruited for 850 gold and 213 upkeep, significantly more than typical archers. They nonetheless come on Ultra with 80 entities and 6,400 health between them. Armor is 30, or baseline Empire Swordsman without the shields, where regular archers come at 15. Leadership of 72 is shockingly high for a quote-unquote missile unit, but that health. Speed 40 and charge speed 44 make it very, very agile for normal speeds. Actually, this is ranger speed. Melee attack begins at 36 and goes with attack interval 4.3, far from the slowest. Let's be real, missile units don't normally attack with that kind of skill. There is no splash damage. Melee defense begins at 22, but we'll come back to that per usual. Weapon strength 32 is split between base 22 and armor piercing 10. I would like to note that the weapon strength figure is very close to what White Lions do, and the armor piercing portion is substantially more than what a normal spearman or even Silverin would, unless against large targets. Charge bonus is 10 and mass is 100. For ranged, ammunition starts at 20, which isn't anywhere near as bad as you feel like it is in battle. Range is 180 meters. Missile strength of 20 goes with arrows that are base 18 and armor piercing 4, damage per impact, which combines the strengths of archers versus Seaguard. These arrows are reload time 11, total accuracy begins at 20 and rises with veterancy, calibration distance is shockingly long at 150 meters, so only super inaccurate past that, and calibration area is a spray and pray 5.6, which is the starting point modified by total accuracy as it rises, making groupings a lot tighter, especially if under 150 meters. There is no multi-target penetration. If over 25% health, this unit has martial prowess, so melee attack plus 2 and melee defense plus 12, and has stalk, vanguard deployment, and fire whilst moving. Whether to have the latter on is a key issue for operational art. In the redline skills, unlike basic archers, this unit only benefits from Bow Master, so at 3 pips plus 20% ammunition and 8% reload time reduction. At rank 7, Favorable Winds grants plus 10 armor, plus 12% missile strength, and 15% missile resistance. That's great stuff. In the tech tree, thankfully we get more love here. Trumpeters adds 5% speed, and that's not trivial on a real skirmishing archer unit. Precise Fletching grants plus 20% ammunition and plus 10% missile strength. Light Ithilmar armor is of course plus 10 armor. Massed Charge actually adds plus 5 melee attack and plus 10 flat charge bonus, which literally doubles the charge bonus at work here and puts it up to Swordmaster's level. For the charge bonus only. Highborn Champions grants plus 2 recruit rank, and From the Shadowlands is key, providing plus 10 leadership, 15% reload time reduction, because the early tech archery prowess does not apply to them, and 15% missile resistance to boot. That's a big deal for surviving your skirmishes. So how do we use Shadow Warriors without Alith Anar? Yeah, well, they can still stalk, they get surprisingly strong melee attack and highly adequate damage. They're just really low health compared to what you'd prefer. In other words, the melee is for weakened or just plain weak targets. That's fine. If you get plus 40% ammunition just from redline and text, you have little excuse not to make those arrows count and afflict your foes. In the forest, arrows are less effective. I'm invoking a comment in mentioning that Rangers, a woodsman unit, have identical base foot speed, therefore you have every reason to use them in conjunction with Shadow Warriors, and enemy ranged does a lot less damage in the forest. And if it's not fighting beastmen, most cavalry and monsters won't do as well either, so you have more options. Aside from the traditional sneaking up and backstabbing artillery, which these stats are plenty good enough to pull off like sneaky gits or something, ranged fire is helped by simply not being aimed at annoying shields. If you can get Shadow Warriors to chew up the backline and then shoot the front line to pieces from the back, you've probably won. When that's not possible, because in a lot of cases it's not, you have to start getting creative. Are you splitting the enemy up? Are you leading the enemy on wild goose chases? Are you making the enemy smaller and easier to destroy in manageable pieces? That is exactly what stealth skirmishing is all about. And just because Alith Anar is better at it, it doesn't mean you can't do it in the heat of battle. There are people who shudder at the thought of replacing archers with these guys. Do you need to? Is it really about replacing? How about just having a mobile element to use to toy with the enemy's expectations and bowstrings? So what you should be doing is using a few when you can afford it, use them in a sneaky, almost Skaven-like way, and pulling or driving the enemy into the buzzsaw of 1,000 arrows. Everything else is just what you can manage, not what you would prefer. 80 entities is 10 less than the 90 of archers and Seagull, but their quality of fire is good enough that you didn't really lose much. Just take full advantage and try to gut out victories everywhere you can. Take care and have fun striking from the shadows, and living to strike again and again.